Hello and welcome to this spoiler-free review of season two for Squid Game. And right off the bat, I want to make sure that you guys know that I'm be telling you like nothing about the story, no major beats. I'll be as vague as possible, and because I don't want you to all experience it as much as you know, as much as I loved it when I watched it. I guess that from the start I'm telling you guys I liked it, right? But that doesn't mean it's perfect. But yeah, it's well worth watching. And I'm gonna start with what I did like. And from the beginning, this is definitely a much slower show than season one. Season one, by the end of the episode, you've already had the red light, green light game. Things have already happened basically. And see, in this one, things do happen, but it generally feels like it takes a couple of episodes before things really start moving around. And I personally like this. I thought that was a great change. I'm glad that they didn't try to repeat the exact thing that happened in season one, right? Where they're like, no, here season two is like there's a very different idea approaching the game, where it's not a desperate person trying to get in. It's actually someone trying to stop them, and it's really well done. I really like the start of the show. And speaking of that, I think that the characters in general, for me, I felt that there was a lot more characters in this season compared to the previous one. Maybe that's because I probably forgot a few. It's like not every character is super memorable from season one, but I felt there was a lot more in this season, and like half of them interact with 4, 5, 6, or main character. The other half are kind of they have their own plots completely. I think some of them, like by the end of the show, they still haven't interacted with him. Not saying they're alive or dead, but they still haven't even interacted with him. Just their own plots, and they have their own very fascinating ideas and relationships and connections they're working with. And it's cool. I like that it's not all centered around this one guy, which is our main character, which is placing him. I got him over there. He is that guy. Yeah. So it's really cool. You can see like behind there's such a big cast, and there's so many different relationships as well. You can probably relate to anyone. If you're like a parent, there's someone you can relate to. If you're caring for your parents, if there's a romantic relation, there's so many different layers and different relationship, friendship, and things like romance. There's all there, and I liked it a lot. Maybe romance slightly less, to be fair with you, but there's all there. So there's always someone you can be like, yeah, I feel like I'd be that guy or that girl if I was in the game. And they're all super amazing at their job, because I know there's no spoilers, but shockingly in Squid Game, some characters do die. I know, and it's a testament to both, like everything. Every time someone dies, it's a moving thing. You're like, oh no. So that was yeah, I really enjoyed the cast. I really enjoyed this cast. I think more so than the previous one. And that doesn't extend just to the good guys. We have new villains as well, and some of them are cartoonishly evil but still charismatic, and some of them are very nuanced and complex. And you're like, I don't know if you're a villain or a good guy. You seem to be on this side, but you act this way. But they're very fascinating to watch. Like seriously, some of the casts, like the main group, like the main, the stars, the ones you can be like, okay, this is definitely a main character. The ones who are in every episode, almost every scene, they're incredible. So I really liked it. Both the good and the bad, and even the people in the middle who are very gray, and you're like, I'm not sure if you're good or bad, but I like what you're doing. Um, the season introduced a new mechanic as well. It's revealed like when the rules are announced, you'll see it. And it's introduced, like you'll see it a lot, this rule, and I like it because it helps separate people into groups. Where it's like you're in this group, you're in this group, you're in this group, and you can see like the line where people how they shift to groups based on their experience. Oh, I almost died. How do I feel now? Oh, I had a very easy round. How do I feel now? And they move around. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but you'll see this new rule, how it interacts with people. It's fascinating. There's like a lot of politics involved in this one, where it's like, oh, I want you to be in my group. I don't want you to be in that group. I want you to be in my group. And how they work together through coercion, through persuasion, through force. It's all very interesting. And we do get a look into more of the people who run the show. Now, I didn't feel it was much more than season one. Remember season one, they did the organ like donation thing. I felt we had the same amount in this one, maybe a little bit more of what of the other side. It was pretty decent, but I remember reading. I was like, it was going to be more of we see about how the Squid Games work. I didn't feel it was quite like that, but it was fine. I thought it was just fine, and I love the way some themes are being discussed on the show, which is, it's not really discussion, but more like they show it to you, which is, if I kill someone, with my bare hands, not me personally, but in the show, or I let someone die because of rules of a game, is it the same thing? Is it different? Like, I've already caused it one way or another. And there's a few couple of scenes with it when you're like, huh, one guy's like, oh, you're the bad guy because you killed him directly, but are you a good guy because you killed him by a rule? Are you better? And that's something that really stuck with me. And when I watched it, I was like, huh, that's very different. So that's a theme that runs throughout the show. Another one is bravery and courage and standing up for the right thing. And we already know 4, 5, 6 has massive, courage. But other characters, when things are tough and when it takes a lot to stand up and do what the right thing, we see some falter and some succeed, and it's like, what is courage? If you're scared and you get up, is it still braver? Of course, I think it is, but it showcases you a lot the like what it takes, the guts it takes to do some of this stuff. And I really liked it. I really liked it. Now, it's not all amazing. There are a few things I didn't like about season 2. Firstly, there's a main plot, which is the Squid Games, and then there's a B plot. And the B plot, which I'll only say it's on a boat. That's all I'm going to say. It's on a boat. I'm on a boat. It's a lot less interesting. It's not as good. It's very serviceable. Where, the scenes come out, you're on a boat, you're like, oh, we're on a boat. And then when it ends and you're on the island, you're like, we're on the island. Oh, yeah, we're back there. So the boat stuff, I saw it, I basically figured out the boat stuff from the beginning. It's like, it's very stuff you've seen before. So which makes it very predictable. That's what I felt, at least. The boat stuff was like, meh, okay, we'll move on. So I didn't like the B plot. It's not, even compared to season 1, you remember there was a guy sneaking around the cop, and that was kind of the B plot of him figuring things out. And it was like interesting. At least that one was connected to Squid Games. This one, less so. So I was just like, meh. I mentioned the new mechanic, and I did enjoy it a lot, but I felt like by the end, it was almost half cooked. I felt like that mechanic could have been used better somehow. So that was something I liked, but I wish that it had been more, like, used more. And in the end, this doesn't feel like a complete story. I think you're going to be hearing this a lot. Season 2 is firstly 7 episodes, not 10, like season 1. And season 1, you get the full run. You get, like, we start here, we end here. Squid Game 1 finished by here. Here, not so much. You are going to be left in definitely what feels like a cliffhanger. I was watching the show and I'm like, you're not going to wrap this up in 20 minutes. You move the mouse, you're like 25. This situation, nah. And I did find out later that this season was filmed with season 3 at the same time. Like Lord of the Rings was all done. So you definitely, by the end, you're like, oh, it's great, but there's definitely more to come. But to conclude it, yes, the biggest flaw is that we don't have enough Squid Game. Is that a good flaw to have? It's fantastic. I love the characters. I loved the change, like the way the games are now being played. We also have like different games. But everything about it, I really enjoyed it. Biggest things that we have to wait for the next season. I suppose one question people will ask is, the main question is it as good as season 1? And I think that while the slow start I did enjoy, I love the slow start. I do think that I kind of like the start in season 1 more. But once this show started going, I think I enjoyed season 2 more than season 1. Even though I love season, like, they're both very 10 out of 10 kind of things. They're different. But yeah, maybe the beginning of season 1 was better, but the middle and end of season 2 is better for me. So overall, I will give the slight edge. If it's not better, then it's very even. So I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and if you do, let me know, and I might make a spoiler full review and tell you what I thought about like each character and each plot line and things like that. But for now, like the channel, tell me what you think, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.